How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Trove. Today we got a very exciting day. We're going to take an in-depth look at the Shadow Hunter here. We're only level 4 now, but that's okay because I got a lot to say about it. And while we're doing it, we're going to also talk about wings and try to grab some Infinium for the purpose of getting ready to do some rune crafting. So, let's go here and see what we got here in this pirate first. Oh, Mount Fast Frank. Don't have enough. 9,000 glim. Fast Frank is a hot dog. I didn't know that. So first, I really only have one thing to say about the wings because I talked about them in my last video. You can go back and check that if you're interested in what I had to say. But what I do want to say is that I was wrong about it being difficult to actually get the wings up. I was doing it incorrectly. I thought you had to press jump again after jumping initially. And it turns out you just hold jump on your initial jump. And that will, like, if you press jump twice, the wings don't come out for quite a while after your second time hitting jump. If you just hold jump, slightly after the peak of your jump, you'll hit the wings. And you actually, let's see, can you do it? This is a good test of a perfectly flat. Oh, you know what? This is actually an even better test because, so you can't do it from running flat in the water because your jump is restricted in the water, I think. But if we actually maybe try something like this. Okay, so you can't really do it on flat ground, which makes sense. It makes sense. But you can probably do it, you know, just off of a very small... Yeah, you can get it just off of like a 1 or 2 block height. You won't go very far, but you actually can hit the wings and utilize them, which is pretty cool. Love it. Alright, let's move on to our look at the Shadow Hunter. So, as you already know, oh, there's another mount. Jelly Knight. 7,000. Let's try to get up so we can actually do some fighting here. Let's go this way and get to Candoria. Gotta love these wings. So, first thing, it's a ranged class. Most of the bows that I'm getting are doing physical damage, so I think that's how that works. It's a physical damage class, I think. Oh, let me check mastery real quick. Alright, we're a good way to mastery 33, which I believe is extra health. Looking forward to that. So... The range, the attack speed is rather low on the, especially compared to the other ranged classes, or the gunslinger in particular. And I'm trying to think, it also seems to be pretty slow compared to Ice Sage and Fey Trickster. The Ice Sage has, I believe, the shield does buff attack speed, so a lot of the time when you're fighting, you're gonna actually have a higher attack speed. This does not have a buff for attack speed as far as I can tell. Unless, of course, you maybe pick up the candy from Candy Barbarian. I'm actually not sure if that's possible cross-class. Oh, look at this. This one doesn't have an island. Isn't that odd? I thought they all had islands. Strange. Shadow Pearl Merchant. Maybe the Shadow Pearl Merchant ones do not have an island. I don't think I need a Shadow Pearl. Where's that Candoria? Oh, it's this way. And let's see, what else? So the passive is that you can mark targets. I don't believe that marking actually does anything. Periodically adds shadow mark to nearby enemy. Yeah, so according to that, or just based off of that, the actually marking of an enemy doesn't do anything on its own. What it does do is it enables you to use your secondary fire and deal more damage. Now, I believe, possibly, this could just be, it's hard to observe, but I think that there might be a little bit of a bug right now where sometimes, depending on like when the aggro happens, I've been trying to like recreate it very specifically. Let's see if I can swim up this. Because if I can... Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I want to talk about this right here, actually, real quick. Well, we can do it later. So we want to talk about the new ores, or the new look for the ores. So the what was I gonna say? What was I talking about right there? Oh, you know what? Let me swim up this. Whee! Right, the secondary fire. It looks like there might be a bug where it's like reversed as to when you do more damage. Like you do more damage when they're not marked. I only thought that it was happening like twice, and again, it's hard to observe because, you know, by the time you get 2 passive hits on them, they're kind of dead usually. I don't know. It's really hard to see. But you could use your secondary without, not on a marked target, and it just won't do as much damage. And it seems like generally, it doesn't do much maybe it does like twice your basic attack, which really isn't all that much, maybe a little more than that, but normally it'll do like 6 times your basic attack, something like that. I don't know the actual numbers. That's something that is something that I would actually like to be a part of, if there was some way of like quantifying whether it's like if they like release any form of the source code or something like that. Like I would love to contribute to the Trove wiki with numbers like that, because I find that really helpful. Or maybe somewhere the devs could post the numbers. I don't know. Maybe they want to keep that a trade secret because then it's more mysterious and people won't. Who knows? Anyways, but the basic attack, like I said, is just like a slow ranged attack with the bow. I haven't unlocked the ultimate yet, but oh, I guess we could talk about the snare. The snare, I haven't really been able to find too useful, but it does help in some situations. Obviously, so it will snare multiple enemies, and it will root them and stun them. So you can, you know, if you're taking a lot of damage, melee damage, throw it at your feet. Snare up your enemies. Here, I could demonstrate here maybe. Right, snare them up and get away. That's really I believe that's an intended use. I believe that's the intended use, and that's how I've been using it, and it's pretty good for that. Issue is that sometimes if the people are right up on me and I snare them, I think the trick is, you know, you gotta snare them before they get to you, because if I snare someone, whoops, that's not the right button, right here, right, and I'm not on my mount, I can only get that far away before, I didn't get that far away, you know, before it was back, and that's kind of an issue. Hello, invader. Now's actually not a great time. I have a caterpillar. So this invader will be a tough enough enemy that I could show you some other stuff. Let's grab this before I forget. So the mark over his head, that's the passive, and that is, whoa, there's quite a bit of rubber banding. Right, let's go ahead and snare. I keep taking a flask instead of snaring him. As you can see, a nice, way more damage compared to my basic is done because he is marked, and that is good. I like that mechanic a lot. Without the mark, as you just saw there, it didn't really register all that much damage compared to the basic. Okay, cool. So then the ultimate is there's shadow marks all enemies and empowers radiant arrow. Yet to try it, obviously. But what I believe that is referring to is that you will basically be able to use your secondary quite a bit. I think maybe that will improve attack speed or lower the charge time. I'm hoping, at least that's what that does. And then it just marks all the enemies. While we're on the topic of marking enemies, actually I'm gonna pause the topic on marking enemies for a second. I have more to say, but let's take a look at these new ores. Now you can see they've got a shininess to them when you have the light source at certain angles. I just had it a second ago. You can kind of see it there. It's like green-ish, so that's cool. You know, it's because the moon's over there, I think, is why that's happening like that. Could be wrong about that. Anyways, I saw there's a new texture, obviously, and you can see they're flat now. They don't have all the 3D-ness to them. And I saw someone, at least one person, I'm not sure how many people in the comments agreed with it, really tear into the devs for these new ores, because they said it looked a lot more like Minecraft ores, and you know, they really don't stand out as much or something like that, and they don't clash well, or they don't like fit well or something like that. You know, as far as their aesthetic goes, maybe I would agree. Maybe, I don't know. I really don't think they look that bad or even that different, to be completely honest. But from a performance perspective, I believe they are a huge improvement. You know, my understanding of games like this and games like Minecraft, see, that did quite a bit of damage without this might just be a weak enemy though. Oh, I forgot to check that bow. See what's up with that bow. Oh, I should mention the alternate of the Shadow Hunter here does a bit of AoE. So if you hit one enemy with it and it's not the marked enemy, but the marked enemy is right next to it, so kind of like Secret Service bad guy taking the hit, you can still hit. I think for that actually might be what I was seeing. Instead of you know, the non-marked targets taking more damage, it might actually be that I was just seeing marked target only getting hit partially because of AoE. It was hitting like another enemy instead, perhaps. I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually what it was. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, the ores. So yeah, so in a game like this, my understanding of one of the drawbacks to these games is they're pretty memory intensive, or at least Minecraft is. I'm not actually sure on Trove, but I would imagine that it has some of the drawbacks, and that would be that, you know, you have to remember what material, maybe not so much in Trove, but you know, at least what color. And like the shininess and the reflectiveness and the see-throughness of all the blocks here, and that's fairly memory intensive. And when you add on top of that loading them in, that can get pretty CPU intensive when you're traversing terrain. And each one of those cubes only has a maximum of 6 sides showing. None of them have more than that, and actually quite a few have less than that, right? Because they have it's goofy looking dude, because some of them, you know, are covered. Like for instance, this floor here only has one side showing each of the cubes. But when you have a cube that is made up of lots of other cubes with lots of faces inside of them, that increases the increases the CPU needed to render it, and possibly the memory as well. I'm not sure how performant or how poor or good the performance of Trove was previously, but I think that by making them flat textures, you're actually going to cut down on performance. Maybe not significantly. I don't know. Oh my god! I keep wanting to use a snare, and I wind up drinking a flask. Oh man. And yeah, so I don't know. I could be wrong about that. That's my take on it. And so that's why, you know, you can say what you want about the textures, but I think the conscious choice to make them flat was because of that. Maybe. I don't know. I also don't know what sort of specs of a computer your average Trove player has. I'm guessing that when people see visuals like this, they say, oh, it's a game I can play on my laptop, even if, for whatever reason, the game is actually kind of requiring a beefy computer. They'll see the solid colors, they'll see the blocks and cartoony vibe, and they'll assume like a super performant, run it on my toaster kind of game. So maybe they are trying to sort of suit that opinion more? I don't know. This all could be completely false, but that was something that I thought of when I read the Reddit post, sort of slamming the devs for the blocks. And in my personal opinion, I don't even think they look that bad. I think they look pretty good. They look just fine. I don't really spend all that much time looking at ores. Anyways, I would actually, if I had to pick, I would ask for more available, wider variety of normal building blocks that I would actually want in my builds and actually able to place in my builds than just ones that I find in the terrain. which could be on the horizon, and I know that there already are some that I don't have, so I really don't have the right to complain. Like there's the signs. They took away the bordered blocks because you can now find them, which is awesome, and that sort of speaks to the more availability. Because, you know, I'm always going to sort of put new classes and that kind of a thing ahead of buying extra blocks. So it's kind of nice. I think they probably saw that most people maybe weren't purchasing the blocks and were preferring, and so they're letting you find them now. Who knows? But I've also mentioned before how unsatisfying the building is in this game, in my personal opinion, and I think that just finding a couple border blocks and glass blocks and metallic block recipes is going to completely change that for the better. So here's something. Now I like am not using my basic, and that's because like I just prefer to use the charge shot, and you can't shoot your charge shot when you're charging up. You can't shoot your basics when you're charging up your charge shot, which makes sense. So here's something I was wondering though. Who gets marked and who doesn't? I'm trying to see who's marked here. I think it's one of these guys. And now I was wondering, because it kind of seemed like it was prioritizing the passive getting marked on bosses, nearby bosses, as opposed to, oh, maybe he's marked now. So maybe that is the case. Maybe bosses get prioritized, which makes a lot of sense. So I was kind of glad, but it seems like every boss I fight ends up spawning some minions, but still being the one that gets my passive mark. And I'm pretty happy about that. This guy has some crazy knockback, let me tell you, which is kind of good as a long-range class. I'm kind of happy about that. Oh, I'm on fire. Who set me on fire? Oh, this guy has the fire ability. I'm trying to hit this guy. I'm not sure if my arrows are actually reaching down there. I might not make it through this. I don't have a lot of flasks left. I kept wasting them. Yeah. So all in all, I mean, we haven't tried the ultimate. It's really the last thing I can't speak about yet. But all in all, I think it's a really good class. I think it's varied enough mechanics from the other class that it's totally worth the play. Totally worth the credits or qubits. I ended up spending credits on it because I didn't happen to have the qubits at the time. But I really wanted to get it. Haven't taken a look at the... I'm trying to cover like every little thing about it, so I haven't taken a look yet at the costumes for it yet, just briefly. Deadshot and Relic of the Past. That Deadshot looks really cool. Really, really cool. A costume for the Shadow Hunter. No one knows if the Shadow feels fear, but this somber raiment shakes for a resolve of the fiercest mortal foe. That's a lot of words I don't know. This unearthed raiment, there it is again, has classical stylings not seen since the Great Sundering. Truly a rare find. Maybe that was initial concept art or something like that. Okay, there's another one there. Should I where is this last danger awaits at this location? I'm gonna move on. Oh god, you gotta be kidding me. I can't get up? I guess I could always place a block. And I placed one in the wrong spot. Not helpful. Oh my god, I'm failing big time at this. Alright, there we go. Cool. Let's see, so what else is about it? Well, I mean, I can't really think of much else to say about this other than the, you know, trying out this ultimate. The bow is cool. I think it's the first anime that actually do need fairy dust to get to the Sky Realm. That's what we're trying to do, by the way. That's why we're looking for in the Infinium. So maybe we should spend some time here. Oh, that's the other thing. You can see through marked enemies through walls. That's another great thing. It's something that you don't see at all in any other class. I also think that, at least with the Ice Sage and the Candy Barbarian in recent patches, we have seen a tendency of AoE or crowd better against crowds of people. This is definitely a single target class. You know, it seems like the ultimate is going against that. The ultimate is actually more of a like mark everyone, see if you can hit everyone. So you know, I wouldn't say it's exclusively a single target class, but that's I'm really happy about that, because I tend to do most of my playing alone, and I tend so, you know, having something where I could do massive damage to a boss on my own. I mean, that was sort of one of the it's not a bad thing about the class, it's just something to note about the Candy Barbarian, is that, you know, when you only have one enemy, your secondary isn't going to give you all that much healing. So, you know, unless you've built really tanky health, unless you have lots of good builds, you know, you're going to have to be using your flasks when you are alone. But when you're fighting groups, that is, it's different. Let's throw this. I think they added some new stuff to this or something. I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything. Let's pop down the cornerstone and get some flasks. Still haven't finished that build. Don't worry. I never will. No, I will. It's been so long. Gotta keep lawnmowering, getting that glim. Haven't seen much Infinium, but it's such a... Hey there, bud. I need the fairy dust. Nothing. Whee! Yeah, so we can probably get level 5 here, like right now, actually. Whoop, almost overshot. Coming from you, spider? It's also by far the longest range class that we've seen. A lot of the other range classes definitely don't have quite the same reach, which is really cool. I always sort of thought that the range classes, like basically Fate Trickster and you know, Ice Age Gunslinger, that they sort of how do I describe it? They don't really you don't pick like strategic positioning when you're those classes. Like, you're ranged, but that just means that you should stay at a distance. It doesn't actually mean that you're like a sniper that's like gonna stake out somewhere. And this seems like it actually could have the potential. Tribe proclaims Uberman giveaway every time I finish a shadow dungeon. Oh, Kung Fu quickness. Now that's interesting. As a streamer, of course, I'm interested in how that guy got to promote his stream with that. That might be the heart phone. I don't know if you can put your own message in there. That's interesting, and the fact that people are using that to promote their stream is somewhat concerning, because if there is the chance of someone using that for spam promotion reasons, that's going to for sure cause community unrest, right? I probably won't be doing that. I prefer to stick to my Twitters and YouTubes for my promotion. Thank you. I don't know, but that might be something that is specifically built in and monitored, in which case I probably will use it, because that's cool. And of course, no disrespect to that streamer there. Never heard of them. Yep, I just don't want to spam up other people's play screens if they're not interested in that sort of a thing. Nice, got some fairy dust there. I think I'm not all that far off on getting enough fairy dust. It's the... oh, there's more. It's the... oh, new hat. Did I not pick up that item? No, I did. It's weird, because I totally picked up a bow, not a hat. The hat was the last thing in my inventory. And, alright, so let's go do like a new dungeon. Let me just get more of that. And in this last dungeon we will try out the ultimate, and then we'll call it a day. I'm not... one thing I'm still not clear on is how to get some of the other wings. That's what I'm looking for. I know that wings are the phoenix or something you get from a pack, so you probably can't find those, but the rest of these, maybe you get them through rune crafting. I think there was one set you get through rune crafting, I think. Okay. I think it would be cool if the what's it called exactly? Shadow mark? Yeah, if the shadow mark actually did something. Not big, but here's what the primordial flame looks like. That's quite different. I will give you that. I would tell you that this particular texture does look quite different. I'm not saying it looks bad, I'm just saying it looks quite different than its original one. Oop. What was I just saying? Something about... oh yeah, if it did something, like maybe if it slightly slowed the person on it so they were easier to hit or something, or it was easier to stay away from them. Okay, come on. Wait. Alright. Oh, I hate the jumping. I always get so close and then you fall. I always know that I shouldn't be doing it on my mount, and that's the problem. Is that you can't balance them from mounts. You can only stay on your mount when... Oh, this guy does run like a boss. Oh, I went back through the portal. Oh man, I'm really blowing it. Might as well drink a flask. I also love how he holds his bow. One thing, when you're shooting with this guy, it might be cool, because of how... Whoops, did I throw one? No, I drank a flask. I meant to throw it on one of these. If when you're using your bow with your basics... Oh, see, now, look, it didn't mark the boss. It marked that guy. So, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it more has to do with which ones... Oh, knocked me right into the spikes. Bummer. Oh, I didn't try the ultimate. Dang it. Alright, let's go again. Sorry about that. Oh, now this is going to be a long episode. I had already sort of gotten used to not having one. Yeah. It relies so much on staying away from your enemies that maybe a slow would be really cool. A slow when you get marked, just to, you know, one less enemy on your tail. You can kind of keep away, because when you're shooting and you're moving, you go really, really slow. Which might be, I mean, I'm only level 5, so maybe, you know, getting more move speed items, we'll take that into account. Alright. Oh, no, I was wrong. It's like massive AoE or something. And it seemed like it only lasted for that single shot. Obviously it killed somebody because there's some loot over here. Cool looking bow. Maybe I should use the dash more. I'm finding sometimes that when I'm like busy doing other things there, like right after I land, if I try to hold right click right after I land, maybe I'm just not timing it correctly and I'm actually pressing right click before I land. But the bow, I do not draw the bow back to do the charge shot. Alright, he's the only one who should get marked now. Oh, did he heal? Did I walk too far away? What a jerk. Oh, let's throw down one of these. Let's go for this again. So he should be marked. And that was, so by empowers it's just like, looks like a larger explosion with more damage, which is interesting. I thought it was going to be like a rapid fire kind of thing. So that does mean, that, whoa, hello. That does mean that this guy is like decidedly single target then. I mean, besides the little bit of AoE on the secondary fire. But, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, Trove is kind of all about, yes, I did not accidentally drink a flask, even though I probably should have drunk a flask on purpose. Okay, can't drink a flask, but you have your bow pulled back. Maybe some I don't know what the right answer to this, what the right answer to this is, but maybe a look into what things can't interrupt what other things with this guy. because it seems like holding back the bow takes precedent, but I might not let go of the click and need to quickly hit heal or something like that. It seems like almost anything should interrupt it because I pushed the button, so I probably want to interrupt it. Maybe that's wrong though. I don't know. I'm not the game designer here. It's just a thought. I trust that they will find the optimal solution to that. Look at all those styles. That's the best thing about coming out with a new class with a new kind of weapon. All the new styles you can get. Whoa! Okay, looks like I just crashed trying to deconstruct those things. But that's gonna be it for me, everybody. Maybe I'll boot up the game here just to see what kind of a state I'm in, if it actually deconstructed them. You guys might be curious on that as well. It's taking a while. I guess it could also be a server thing. Maybe the whole server went down. I doubt it. I think that's probably a crash. Probably see a hotfix for that pretty soon. Maybe they don't have support for deconstructing bows yet. Did they forget that part? Kinda doubt it. Well, this isn't working, but I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.